Thank you. Good evening. Yes, my name is Corey Spears, and as Grant Well's friend and former colleague, I am honoured to have been asked to open his exhibition this evening. Many of you will no doubt know Grant from either his many years behind the lens at Advocate newspaper or now in his own practice at Grant Well's Photo. This exhibition, titled People of Passion, is a phrase that equally applies to Grant himself. In my preparation for tonight's opening, I actually reached out to some of Grant's former colleagues who all spoke of Grant's passion for his craft. And as you will no doubt see, this passion is certainly on display here, both in front of and behind the lens. Starting his career processing film at a colour lab in Launceston and then at the Advocate newspaper as a darkroom assistant, Grant has created hundreds, if not thousands, of memorable moments of people across the Northwest Coast. It is people's passions that Grant has truly captured in this exhibition. I spoke with Grant last week and he said, people's passions are really diverse. They can be anything. And it's true, whether it be Waratah Wynyard Mayor Robbie Walsh's tractor collection over there, or the millinery of Susan MacArthur. These are people, both, in this case, really well known for their hats, mind you, who are really passionate about the things that they create, do, or collect. In People of Passion, Grant continues a tradition of celebrating people in interesting environments. However, it is not standard portraiture. He's chosen to capture people in panoramas. This is a technique normally used for landscapes, and one that his former colleague, Ben Isles, said was generally regarded in the industry as absolutely nuts, which I can't agree with. What this exhibition does, though, is continues a long history of Grant's ability as a great storyteller through imagery. Whether you think it's a cliche or not, I think the phrase, "a picture is worth 1,000 words," stands true, particularly when it comes to photojournalism. Photojournalism has a long history in not only capturing our lives, but also helping to create a cultural narrative. Since the mid-19th century, technology has advanced to the point where anybody is able to take a photograph, but that doesn't necessarily make them any good. Iconic pictures such as when the Lake Illawarra cargo ship hit the Tasman Bridge, or indeed more locally of the APPM dispute, in which Grant and the Advocate team actually won a Nikon Walkley Award. These pictures are ones that will forever remain as a story, capturing a moment, not only the objects and subjects, but also their actions, emotions, their desires, and indeed their lives. You only have to look at the fires that have recently hit southern Tasmania and the images that stand alongside them to appreciate the difference. You can and should feel as if you are there, smelling the burnt debris, feeling the loss and the hope for recovery. This is the power of photojournalism. Fortunately, Grant comes from a traditional darkroom practice, as do I. 36 shots or less per film were the standard, and many hours were spent working on images for the next day's paper. While admitting this exhibition has been produced entirely digitally, I sense that this experience has taught Grant a lot about the importance of composition, patience, and attention to detail. Photojournalism, like the practice of journalism, is about collating, editing, and presenting news or information. But it's also about storytelling and capturing our attention. In fact, it's thanks to photojournalists that we have everlasting memories of moments. People like Robert Carper, Dorothy Lang, Margaret Bourke-Wyatt, W. Eugene Smith. These are all instrumental people in capturing various moments in time that remain as significant as the written word that stood beside them. Even the work of more renowned social and environmental photographers like Henry Cartier-Bresson and Ansel Adams, who Grant also listed among many of his influences, are photojournalists in a sense. They recorded moments in time and of course the people and places that connect us to each other. Grant has had many achievements during his life, taking out a number of awards for his work, including with the MEAA, Hurley, SEABL, NTFL, PANPA, MBF, lots of acronyms, and of course the Nikon Walkley Award for his work on the APPM dispute detailed earlier. But equally, it is his care and work with others that he should be also very proud. Former colleague Jason Hollister said Grant was a thinker, a person who thinks well outside of the box, which he said was beautifully demonstrated in all aspects of his photographic work. Jason said Grant, in his role of chief photographer at The Advocate, led by example, encouraging his department and striving to bring out the best in people under his guidance. Jason also said Grant's team saw him not just as a boss, but more importantly as a mentor and colleague to be looked up to. Another former colleague who I reached out to in tonight's preparation, Katie McDougall, also spoke of Grant's ability to foster talent in others. Kate beautifully described Grant's style in that no matter the photograph, there's always more than the story to the photo. It's not just the person, having their photo taken, or a shot of a building or food on a plate. There's always heart and soul to his pictures, a vulnerability to them, something that always draws you in and is not easily achievable. Ben Isles said Grant might not say much tonight, which is very true. He's very quiet. And that's okay, because his images really do speak for themselves. He's a master. His images enable his subjects to do the talking. That's what we're all aiming for as photographers, and Grant has nailed that with his collection. If you're in the crowd tonight, Ben has asked me to ask you to listen to the images. Don't forget to go out, find Grant and get him talking too, which may take some elbowing. But you can actually learn a lot from him, and he's very entertaining, Ben promised. A few quick notes before I close. Grant would especially like to thank Ed Jones for his printing and to each of his subjects for graciously giving some of their time for the shoot. A copy of Grant's book, People of Passion, is also available here at the gallery for purchase. And there's also Mr. Mark Jesser over here in the checkered shirt. If you can come and see him later, he can line you up with a copy of the book. It's excellent. I've seen a copy myself, and I hope to grab one later. In closing, however, I would now proudly like to officially declare Grant Wells People of Passion open. Thank you.